Even more changes came this episode, but somehow I'm still happy. Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of Percy Jackson and the Olympians Season 2, Episode 6, Nobody Gets the Fleece. We start with Tyson, who of course survived the ship exploding, and he learns he can breathe underwater in literally the same way as Percy did in Season 1. And then he's visited by Rainbow. I'm guessing Rainbow simply took him by the sirens while he covered his ears. Then we cut to Percy, who is dreaming about being at camp and is surrounded by dead bodies of his fellow campers. I'm guessing this is an homage to a scene from Percy Jackson and the Stolen Chariot, a short story from the Demigod Files where Percy was given a vision by Phobos, the god of fear, of what he fears the most. That being failing to save camp by making the wrong choice. Then he sees not Kronos, but Thalia in the dream, who shocks him with lightning. Probably because he doesn't know Thalia and might actually believe Luke when he claims that Thalia would have sided with him, or at least he is afraid that she might have. Something Annabeth rebukes later in this episode. Percy wants to go to the island as soon as possible after the dream, but Annabeth convinces him that it's better to wait. Percy also mentions that Sally told him dreams don't lie. At the beginning of this season, Janine from the Olympus Report theorized that Sally also receiving dreams this season is referencing something that was revealed in Wrath of the Triple Goddess. That being, spoiler warning by the way, Sally has the potential to become a witch, but never wanted to capitalize on it. The show as a whole, and more so this season, has been pulling ideas from later series such as monsters not being as monstrous by nature, so this makes sense, and it only really adds to the story, so it's a change I'm okay with. Back on the island, Polyphemus explains that he prefers to live alone because he doesn't trust anyone, especially outsiders, after what Odysseus did to him. He's alone besides his sheep, but he's not lonely. Important distinction. He uses the fleece as bait, which he apparently has because Pan visited the island in the past. And the only reason he kept Grover alive is because he knows heroes will cross oceans to save their friends. Percy and Annabeth go to the sheep to enact their plan, but then we get to the biggest change of the episode. Luke calls Annabeth on an Iris message and actually tries to warn them about Polyphemus. Annabeth of course tells him that she knows he only cares about the fleece. Luke tries to insist that Annabeth doesn't really know Thalia, but Annabeth disagrees. Percy then interrupts the conversation, of course, and back on Luke's boat, Allison Sims sees that he made the call, but Luke rejects the idea that he actually cares about Annabeth, and he says that was recon. Unlike the book, the sheep aren't man-eating or the sheep of doom as they were described in the book, and the heroes don't make like Odysseus and ride the bottom of them. Instead, they steal pelts and pretend to be sheep, since Polyphemus is half-blind. I'm guessing this is a budgetary constraint. The end result is the same, thankfully, since it bypasses the hearing by hiding their sounds in the sheep baz. They get closer, and Grover tries to warn them that it's a trap. Clarice even tries to break a mirror and cut them free with a shard. And when they realize Clarice is there, Percy jokes about leaving her. Of course. Unfortunately, they realize that the fleece on the tree is a fake a little too late, and Polyphemus drops Percy into the cave. Annabeth puts on her invisibility cap and tips off the Cyclops after stabbing him with her knife. She also doesn't claim to be Nobody like she does in the book. Instead, she claims to have been sent by Nobody to piss him off. Then Luke shows up, courtesy of his portal sword, and he quickly realizes the fleece is a fake. Fortunately, Grover finds the real one. With the prize in hand, they try to pry the boulder door open, and then Polyphemus heads them off. Annabeth gets him in the leg, but he knocks her out. He's about to eat her, but then Tyson shows up in the nick of time. Polyphemus tries to win him over, telling him demigods will only see him as a monster. He even tries speaking in ancient Greek, but Tyson talks back to him, also in ancient Greek, saying Percy is different before fighting back. I'll admit I'm surprised Tyson is able to take on Polyphemus like this by himself. Though he is at least comparatively strong, he's able to outsmart the bigger Cyclops and dish out a freaking suplex before they tumble off the edge together. Then Luke shows up and asks for the fleece since Annabeth is dying and the fleece is the only thing that can save her out here since they established that Luke's portal sword has limits. He can only use it on one person and he can't spam use it. Clarice doesn't want to give him the fleece since it will doom camp and possibly the world. Percy falls to his fatal flaw here and wants to do it anyway. Grover agrees, telling Clarice that she would never let another warrior fall on the battlefield because of her. Percy takes the fleece and gives it to Luke despite Clarice's protest. Luke then leaves with Annabeth and the fleece. It looks like all hope is lost, and Percy has killed Camp, as Clarice pointed out, but then it's Tyson to the rescue as he opens the door. We get a really touching scene as Tyson meets Grover for the first time, before the team heads off. Percy takes the invisibility cap, and Tyson calls Rainbow and his friends. None of this happened in the book, but I'm surprisingly okay with the changes, especially compared to last season. The changes dramatically alter the plot details, but the characters are all true to their book counterparts. The themes are consistent as well, plus it actually does something with Percy's fatal flaw. That's more than the Heroes of Olympus did with it, which, spoilers, was nothing. Then in the preview for next episode, they reveal that Annabeth thinks the fleece could revive Thalia, which is something I take particular issue with, because there's no real way she should know that, and it really echoes the problems with Season 1, with the heroes knowing way more than they should. Thalia coming back was supposed to be a surprise, and the reveal that Kronos planned everything so that even if the heroes succeeded, it would still turn in his favor, because now there's another child of the Big Three who could fulfill the prophecy for him. That said, I do like the idea of the final battle with Luke being at camp. Also, we get to see Blackjack! All things considered, I really enjoyed this episode despite the drastic change that is Luke showing up and getting the fleece. But it isn't super important as long as the result is the same for the characters, world, and themes. Though there is a limit of what I'm willing to tolerate when it comes to changes even if they are justified, because after a certain point you're not even adapting the book anymore. Though I did enjoy this episode a lot, and it has several moments I loved, like pretty much everything with Tyson and Annabeth, and Percy's fatal flaw. But I hope that the show doesn't stray too far from the books in the future. I'm Kylan Mythos, and I'll see you all next time for the battle with Luke.